All right, so thanks for watching another stream. Thanks for watching another video. My name is Dennis, and I love talking about Tesla deal hacking, as I like to call it, but basically just getting the best behind Tesla at the best financing rate. So definitely hit that subscribe if you're interested. And today's video, definitely check out my Patreon link down below in the description where you can support the channel and get access to the ultimate Tesla buying guide out there with all the best interest rates for financing your Tesla. And today's video is also partnered with Mint Mobile, where you can save money on your mobile phone plan, but more on that later. So right now, if you're looking for one of the ways to get the lowest monthly payment for your Tesla, you can lease. And this is an interesting headline that Inside EVs posted. The Tesla Model Y long range is cheaper to lease than the Model 3 long range. If you didn't know, a lot of electric vehicles, some qualify for the full $7,500 federal tax credit and some of them don't. But if you lease it, then you can get the full $7,500 on a lease. Other manufacturers allow you to buy out the lease, but Tesla does not allow you to buy out the lease. And so you must lease it all the way to the end. It is a pure rental at the end of because you have to turn it in back to Tesla and you cannot buy it out like some of the other manufacturers out there. But right now, the Tesla Model Y long range is cheaper to lease than a Model 3 long range. This makes sense at the moment, or it did, because inventory for the Tesla Model Y was really high, but then it really started to come down because of the 0.99% offer. I can imagine Tesla's going to change this offer and maybe make the Model 3 long range much more cheaper in the near future, or maybe they already did with the most recent price increases for the Model Y. And so we talked about how the Tesla Model Y, or Teslas, you really shouldn't lease them at all because it is a pure rental. And here's an example of this. Shout out to Colton with Out of Spec Detail. He posted this: hit 30,000 miles on my Model 3 long range today. Since this was a lease with an allotted 30,000 miles, it's going to get parked at the shop until the full lease is up until mid-September. So that's like what, 3 months from now that this car is just going to sit there and not have any more miles driven on top of that. Now, of course, it's not as restrictive as this. If you do want to drive past the allotted 10,000 miles a year or whichever, then you have to pay like a 25 cents per mile overage. And maybe Colton just doesn't want to do this, or maybe there's other mileage, there's other vehicles that he can work with this. But there's an interesting point here, because like, why not just try and turn this into Tesla, get it off the books, because that way you don't have to pay the last 3 months of a lease payment, whether that's $300 to $500, and also insurance payments as well, which we found that the insurance for a Tesla can be like $150 to $200 on average. But here's the post from that. For those of you asking why not turn in the lease early, Tesla wants $10,000 to turn the car in 101 days before lease maturity. And that's because, just like how there is essentially a payoff, but you can't buy out the lease, but there's an adjusted lease balance of $35,944. And the vehicle's worth right now, like if you were to, I guess to Tesla, if you were to trade in a vehicle, whatever mileage or year this is, it's only worth about $25,000. So effectively, there is a $10,000 balance, so to speak, if he were to try and end it early. So of course that doesn't make sense. He might as well just pay the monthly payments plus the insurance and keep it around as another car or emergency car, because it's not like he can't drive it. Of course, it just means that you have to pay mileage overages if you have to drive over that 30,000 miles. And another thing with this that a lot of people know about with leasing is there's two fees that you should be aware about. The first one is an acquisition fee that you pay at the beginning of the lease, and the second one is a disposition fee. You can see there's a disposition fee of $395 and tax on the disposition fee for that state at $31.80. And a disposition fee basically means it's a fee for ending the lease. You pay it, and that's just for ending the lease. Of course, Tesla does waive this, or can waive this, if you get into another lease. But if you're just trying to end and get out of it, then that is your one route with this. And so early termination, lease termination does exist, but essentially you're going to have to pay whatever the value is versus whatever the vehicle worth is, or versus the adjusted lease balance. Now, Now, there is one way, like if I had to go and lease a vehicle, if the payment wasn't as good, or if I just is getting into my first Tesla and I just want to test the waters, maybe for like a year or maybe even 2 years, I recommend checking out websites like Swap a Lease. This is a website where you can find existing people out there that have ending Tesla leases or maybe with 1 year plus left, and you can negotiate with them, you can work with them to try and take over their lease. Everything is all legit. You basically apply to Tesla Financial Services or whatever the leasing company is, and that financial company approves you to be the takeover, and then all the paperwork is done with that financial company. Typically there's another fee on top of this, anywhere from $500 to $1,000, but you can see some of the examples here where it might make sense to do this, like depending on which state you're in. Like there's payments $369 a month with 16 miles left and 926 miles per month left on the lease. So this could be an interesting move if you just want to do like a 1 year lease or a 2 year lease or something like that, but you don't want to get that full commitment, or you have to build up credit or whichever like that. Everything is subject to Tesla approving you at the end of the day. So certainly it is very interesting that if you wanted to go with this, because you could get some lower payments, because most likely a lot of these people who have put money on these leases to get these low monthly payments have put a substantial amount down to get these lower monthly payments. So that is one strategy if you're looking for that. Of course, leasing a new Tesla could be pretty low already, anywhere from $300 to $600 a month. So maybe the effort might not be worth the effort or the juice, the squeeze, or whatever it is. But definitely some pretty interesting stuff. Let me know what your thoughts on it. Let me know what you're thinking.